I do own Cozy Gray in another colors, in another palette. I bought it as a... Hey guys, today I'm just gonna do a get ready with me. Let's have a little cozy chat and put on some makeup. So it's mostly gonna be some MAC makeup. So this is what I've got so far. I pulled all my makeup last night to try and make things easier on myself. I also put in a load of laundry last night and didn't turn it on, so this morning I turned it on. I'm really trying to figure out how to save energy. All right, let's pin the hair back and get started here. I am feeling very tired. I had a really busy but good weekend. All right, who cares how it looks? Okay, so I'm first gonna use the MAC Fix Plus Magic Radiance. It's an all-day hydrating spray and vitamin C. And so I use this to kind of just rehydrate my skin if it's been a little bit after my skincare. Oh God, that feels so good. Let that soak in, and I'm going to wet my sponge while I let that soak in. I think I want to try and contour, but I'm going to try and underpaint. So I've got the Fenty Beauty contour stick in amber. That's it right there. So I really don't know what I'm doing when it comes to contour, but you know, they say it sculpts the face. I could use a little of that, you know? So I'm just going to go here from sort of just under the hollow of my cheekbone. I'm not going to try the jawline because I don't know what I'm doing and I don't feel like doing that today. So I'm just going to tap it and sort of blend it up. I don't want to go too low because I don't want to drop my face. I just want to kind of be in that hollow and maybe a little above. And you don't have to, if you're underpainting, I'm going to be putting, you know, foundation on top of this, so I don't need to really like blend it out completely. That's the only underpainting I'm going to do. Some people do underpainting with contour, bronzer, blush, but I just want to do the contour. This is going to be in my project pan when I start that in the new year. Oh, I should have done the primer first before the contour. Hold on. Okay, that's okay. I'm going to use the MAC Studio Radiance Moisturizing and Illuminating Silky Primer. It's sort of like a cream almost, but it's pretty lightweight. I'm going to use a little bit more on the forehead, and I'll just kind of rub it in where I didn't put the contour, and then just sort of tap it around the rest. And I'm actually going to put a little bit of this under my eyes. I'll give it a little bit of a glow. Think about how you can use your products in other ways. It helps use them up and you're kind of experimenting a bit. Now I'm going to use my foundation. So I'm going to use the MAC Studio Radiance Serum Powered Foundation. Mine is in the shade NC 14.5. It's a buildable, weightless, 24-hour hydrating foundation that smooths texture, evens tones, and blurs the look of pores. So we're gonna give this a shake. Do not get it on your new off-white shirt. That's the consistency there. All right, so I'm gonna prime the brush, take it off the back of my hand, and just make sure that it's evenly distributed on the bristles of the brush. That way you don't get a whole bunch of deposit in one spot. And because I have a lot of redness in the center of my face, I'm going to start with the brush in the center. That's where it gives the most coverage. It's got the most amount on the brush. And my chin, on my nose. And then I'm just going to stamp that in. So then when I get around to the contour, I'm just going to tap over it. It tones it down. It makes it look more like that shadow's coming from underneath. Run that down my neck a little bit to my ears so that there's no big color differentiation. I'm not the greatest at color matching. I did get color matched at Sephora for that foundation, but I'm still not 100%. It's a good match, but I'm not 100% convinced it's the best match. I would really like to go into a MAC store and get them to color match me. People that work at MAC get a ton of training on their products and they really know what they're talking about. That's what I think anyway. The only thing I don't like about the MAC stores, the music's so loud. It's a lot of sensory overload. The music's really loud in there. I can hardly hear what the consultants are saying to me. And bless their hearts, they are so enthusiastic, which is great. But makeup gets me excited too, don't get me wrong. But when I'm shopping, I can be so flat and overwhelmed. It is extremely overwhelming in that store. I find it a bit too much. That's why I like shopping online. I think that's pretty good. Let's take a look. All right, so that's the foundation. Next, I'm gonna use concealer. No, I'm gonna try a color corrector. So I have this little palette from MAC, and it's the Light Studio Fix Conceal and Correct palette. I'll say all these numbers. It's got NC15, W10, NC20, and W20, pale yellow and pale pink for the correctors. I got this on sale. Sometimes Sephora has like just random stuff on their sale page, and I got this on sale at one point this year. I haven't used it very much, and I don't know really the best color for under my eyes. I can never tell. Are they purple, blue, green, dark circles? To me, they're just black, but I don't know. I'm gonna use this one right here, which I don't know what color that is. It's either NC15 or W10. And I'm just gonna pick it up with my finger. Oh, that's dried out quite a bit, just a little bit of a film. Oh, there we go. So if you kind of break through it, it's a stiffer formula for sure. Okay, so let's see. And again, I'm just gonna put it where I have the most darkness, which is right in the corner. And right there in that little trough. I've got 2 black veins on each eye, so I do try to camouflage that. I'm not gonna put anything right up under the lash line. If I don't need the color correction, I'm not gonna add it to that spot, only because the less product you use under your eyes, the better. It'll just look more natural. Okay, so this is with the color corrector, and this is without. All right, so I'll do the other eye now. I think I used more product on this eye for sure. There, I think that looks pretty good. I don't know anything about lighting either, so probably I'm creating lots of shadows. All right, now we're gonna use concealer. I'm using the MAC Studio Radiance 24-Hour Luminous Lift Concealer in the shade NC 14.5. So it's a weightless radiant concealer. Provides 24-hour medium buildable coverage. I certainly am not wearing my makeup 24 hours. Plus 90% immediate hydration. I do know that it's a very hydrating formula, and diminishes the look of dark circles over time by 18%. Okay. I switch back and forth between concealers, so maybe I should test this out for like 2 weeks straight and see if I notice any difference in my dark circles. So this eye I'm just going to apply directly with the wand. This doesn't need, you don't need a lot of this, as I find with most concealers. Oh, that's probably too much. And I'm not very skilled with a brush, so I'm going to use my dampened sponge. And I just get these off of Amazon. And you get a pack and they're pretty decent. I think AOA is the brand. I feel like I'm leaning in. There, lean back, relax, Donna, relax. I am so not relaxed. Oh, that looks nice. Sometimes I have a really hard time applying concealer, I think because I use too much, but that looks nice. I'm not sure what you guys can see, but this one has the concealer and this one does not. For this eye, I'm just going to put some on the back of my hand, and you guys can see the consistency there too. And I'm going to pick it up with my sponge. So same idea as the brush. I'm going to prime the sponge. I find a brush gives you more precision, but a sponge is easier for my skill level, we'll say. Because it's a sponge, it's going to pick up product and not lay down too much. That's why I kind of like a sponge. And I kind of go up a little bit here just to give it a little bit of a lift. It's not that noticeable, but to me it makes a little bit of a difference. And around my nose, highlight that nose a bit, and then I'm just going to add a little bit more coverage on my cheek and my chin where I have some veins and pigmentation that I want to cover. I think that's looking really hydrated and dewy. So you can see, I'm not sure if you can see, this eye looks pretty good. I've got texture over here and it never seems to blend out well. I don't know if anybody else has texture on their skin, they struggle with that, but we'll let it go. Then I'm going to sort of melt this stuff together. So I'm gonna go use the MAC Fix Plus alcohol-free multitasking setting spray. So I tend to use this spray to melt my layers together. It just gives a more natural look, makes me feel that I haven't overdone it too much. As that dries down, then I'm just gonna press everything in with the sponge. It'll just help melt things together. Well, in my mind it does. Picks up any extra product that if I've put too much down. And then we can sort of see, I think, how that underpainting did with the contour. I don't think it's too much, and it's helping me use up a product. So next we're going to do some powdering, and we're going to put on some color complexion products. I'm gonna try, I've only used this powder once. It's the MAC Studio Fix Pro Set and Blur Weightless Loose Powder, and it's in the shade Lavender. It comes with a little puff, and then it has a cap on it. Okay, so I haven't used the powder puff before, so let's try that. So we have some powder there. I don't want to use too much, so I'm going to pat that into my hand just to evenly distribute it in the puff and to take some of the product off because my under eyes are dry. Now I'm going to set that aside, and I'm going to just tap out any creases that I might have under my eyes from the concealer before I powder, because I don't want that to, I mean, creasing is going to happen anyway, and gathering of the concealer in my wrinkles, but I just want it to be not as much. We'll just try to lessen it. Okay, so I'm going to do one eye at a time. I'm going to try not to look down, and we're just going to press that in. Okay, now I'm just going to tap out the product, any excess on this eye, and I'm going to use my finger to tap out some of it too. And I'm going to use just a little brush. This is a Real Techniques brush, and I'm just going to dust away any extra powder because I don't want to have too much under there. So I'm going to powder the rest of my face. I think it's almost balancing out some of the sallowness in my coloring. I'm going to use the MAC Fix Plus again and spray in that powder. Get that to melt in. So I'm going to use a bronzer. I have Makeup Forever Artist Sculpt S400 in Precious Latte. Makeup Forever is another one of my benchmark brands like MAC is, which just means it's one of my favorites. I'm just gonna tap on my cheeks. Have you guys used a MAC bronzer? For some reason that hasn't been one that's a MAC purchase I've made. I'm gonna put some on my forehead, and I'm just gonna sweep my eyes a little bit and across the nose, some on the chin, and then maybe just around the jawline a little bit. Natural looking. Next I'm gonna use highlight. I would like the blush to be on top of the highlight. I want it to seem like the highlight is coming more from within. So I'm going to use the MAC Mineralized Skin Finish in Soft and Gentle. It's a very beautiful highlight. It can be fairly intense. I am going to use a fan brush because I feel like that gives a really light distribution. And I'm just gonna swirl it in a little bit and then swirl it in the cap to kind of distribute it. And then I'm just going to do the cheekbone there. I used to do like in a C shape, but I found because of my crow's feet, it just highlighted my wrinkles too much. So now I'm just doing like just the very top of my cheekbone. And experiment with this because everybody's face shape is different, but I've been kind of liking just a little bit on my cheek. I do have larger pores there and it can sometimes emphasize that, but I just kind of like the way the light hits it. And I'm not using a lot of pressure. I'm just kind of grazing it. And then whatever's left over, I'm just gonna do kind of the bridge of my nose, a tiny bit up here, sort of at the high point of my eyebrow where the light might naturally hit, and a little bit on my chin, and Cupid's bow. Next, we're gonna go with some blush. So I have two different MAC Glow Play blushes. I have Blush Please, and they're like a putty formula. And then I've got True Harmony. Oh, I love this color too. So we'll do some swatches. True Harmony and Blush Please. So pretty. I think I'll use the Blush Please. Give a little bit more life to my cheeks because I'm really tired. And I'm doing this all before coffee time. I need some coffee. All right, so I'm gonna really load up the brush. I'm not gonna be afraid of it. I find blush is the first thing to fade in my look, really. I'm gonna start about here with the brush when it has the most product on it. and then work my way around my cheeks. So sort of to the back and then to the front. I really have been experimenting with blush placement. Like I know they say if you don't really do the apples of your cheeks, you get kind of a higher look, makes it more youthful. If you go too low, I don't know if that's called the boyfriend look. I've been kind of experimenting. I kind of like my blush to take a wider space on my cheek, even though my cheeks aren't that big, but I kind of just like that look. I think it's flattering on me. But that's the fun part about makeup. You can play around and see what looks good. One day you can try placement in one spot and then the next day you can try something else. Oh, I love that color. Have you guys tried any of the MAC Glow Play blushes? I think Rare Beauty in the last little while came out with some new blushes that are, I would say, maybe a similar format. Nope. A similar formula. I was at Sephora this weekend and I did test out the Rare Beauty bouncy blushes, I'll call them. I don't really know what they're called. I didn't try them on my face, but just to check the formula, and they are similar to the MAC Glow Play blushes. MAC is one of my benchmark brands. Rare Beauty isn't a brand that I'm generally drawn to, so I wanted to see, okay, what are those blushes like? Because I know I like the MAC Glow Play blushes, but the MAC Glow Play blushes fit the bill for me. I don't have any desire to buy any of the Rare Beauty ones. There, I think that looks really nice. All right, eyes. I'm gonna use an eye primer, which I'm not skilled with. It's the MAC Prep and Prime 24-Hour Extended Eye Base. It's a cream. Well, I'd say it's a cream product. You don't need very much. And I'm just going to put it on my 2 ring fingers and just apply on the lid. Lots of people do their eye looks first, which makes sense, because then if there's any fallout, cleanup is a little easier. Now, I never know, are you supposed to put powder over top of that? To me, that would mean your eyeshadow's not adhering to the primer, but I see people do that a lot and I don't really know. I can understand why, because when I do this, I find that the shadows kind of stick, like wherever I put my brush, it really sticks. And sometimes I find it a little harder to blend out. I'm gonna go with no powder because I want the color payoff to be true. So I'm gonna use the MAC Connect in Color Eyeshadow Palette Unfiltered Nudes. I had seen this one around for a while. I love the color story. They have such interesting colors and there's shimmers and formulas, but I gotta pick what I'm gonna use. Okay, let's see what happens. So I wanna come up with 4 to 5 eye looks. I don't know what I'm doing with eyeshadow. I want to experiment, but I don't know, unless the color story's put in front of me, I don't know what colors to choose. And I don't really know, well, where should this one go? So I want to try and come up with some specific eye looks that can just be go-tos and I don't have to spend a lot of energy thinking about it on my low energy days. So I'm thinking the first one should be pretty straightforward, just a one and done, where I'm just using one eyeshadow all over the lid, a little bit in the crease to blend out. Done. The other one is I'm thinking of using 3 colors, which I'm going to try and do today. 3 colors, and I'm going to go from dark to light. So the darkest on my mobile lid, medium mid-tone color in the crease, and then the lighter one to sort of blend up towards the top. Let's see how big of a mistake I can make. Oh, see, now I'm getting scared. I'm not going to go too intense because I'm a bit scared. So I'm going to use this shadow here, which I think is called Wedge. So I'm going to load up the brush. All right, let's hope for the best, guys. Well, it's a pretty like warm brown, I would say. And I'm not going to be afraid of the color. I'm not going to be afraid. Don't be afraid. I bring you love. Any Simpsons fans out there? I'm going to do the same to the other eye. I see some people that do one complete eye look on one eye and then they go back and do the second eye, and I'm like, I would never remember what I did what I did when. My 2 eyes barely look the same when I do it this way. They certainly would not look the same if I did one eye first. I would just never remember. I don't like to go too far down. Another reason why doing your eye look first is kind of a good idea, because then you can sort of clean up as you go. So then I'm just going to take a semi-clean eyeshadow brush and just kind of blend that so it looks a little smoother in the crease. And I've got very hooded lids, so generally anything I put in the crease, I try and tend to put up a little higher so it can be seen, but I'm not that skilled yet. There, okay. So then I'm gonna use the same brush. I'm gonna use Cozy Gray, which is this one right here. And I'm just gonna put that in the crease. I have done this type of eye look before where I did use all of these colors right here. So this one on my lid, this one in the crease, and wedge at the top for, I don't know what they call it. It's not a highlight, but, and that was a really nice look. For whatever reason, I really love a deep, like a really dark color on my mobile lid. There, oh, that's pretty. Cozy Gray is a pretty shade. I don't know if you can really tell. So I'm blending that in the crease and then bringing it up higher than where my crease is, so you can sort of see that color a bit. Do you guys have any signature eye looks? Do you just do a one and done and call it a day? That can look so beautiful. Or do you guys like to experiment? Do you like deep colors, pale colors, sparkle? Who doesn't love sparkle? Yeah, I think that's looking really nice. And then I'm gonna use that cream color right here, which I think is called Uninterrupted. I don't know, it's either Uninterrupted, oh wait, that's Cozy Gray. No, that one is called Send Neutrals. As you can tell, I get really confused by perspective trying to put products up to the camera and then like those little legends on the back of the palettes. I don't know which one's which. I do own Cozy Gray in another palette. I bought it as this. Not a scratch. Okay, I'm gonna stop talking. What did I say this was? Send Neutrals? I'm gonna put that sort of right up under the brow bone. What I wanna do is add a little color to my bottom lash line. So I think I'm gonna use that same paddle brush, use wedge. I'm just gonna get it on the tip of the brush and just tap it right under the lash line. That's pretty. I think I'm gonna use this MAC 219S brush and use that Cozy Gray. And I'm just going to just go a little bit below the lash line. And I'm gonna use the same brush and I'm gonna use that neutral, Send Neutrals in the inner corner, just to brighten it up. Now, I wear glasses, so it's not really necessary, it's not really noticeable, but I like the little touch. There, that's how it's looking so far. I think that's pretty good. Am I gonna do an eyeliner? It is Makeup Forever Aqua Resist Color Pencil in 5 Bronze. Very pretty green. That's my favorite green, like a khaki color green and then with shimmer. It doesn't get any better for me. I'm not good at all about putting eyeliner on my actual lid. I just want something that's gonna add a little bit of, it's gonna make my lash line look a little bit thicker. You don't notice the color. I don't think I'm gonna put it in the waterline. I think that is all I'm gonna do there. Let's figure out a lip. Let's do Thanks, It's MAC. I think I want a lip liner. I'm gonna try Whirl. I think Whirl is gonna be the one. Ooh, with the lip glass over top. Huh. I'm not breathing doing my lip liner. That's really pretty. So sometimes I do lip liner first and then do the lip and blend it out with my finger or a brush and then put the lip gloss on or lipstick. But I have found, because I am learning how to use lip liner, if I put the lipstick on first, it gives me almost just a better path to follow. And then I do my lip liner. So I'm pleased with that. I think that looks really nice. Let's do a little spray. Oh, that feels so nice. I have a very difficult time. Doesn't matter if it's drugstore, waterproof, high-end mascara, it always smudges and flakes. The flaking I can understand and live with. I don't care so much about that, but smudging is crazy. So this is my second tube of the MAC Legit Lift Lash Primer, which I'm not 100% sure works all the time to keep my mascara from smudging, but it's not gonna hurt, so. Okay, and I'm going to use the MAC Stack Elevated Mascara in Black Stack. That is dramatic. If you guys have a favorite mascara that doesn't smudge on you guys, put it in the comments below. I'm so open to testing a whole bunch of mascaras. And I'm going to use the MAC Extended Play Giga Black Lash in, well, there's no color, but it's just black. And this is their tubing mascara. I'm gonna put that on the bottom lashes because I feel like that helps, tubing mascara helps with no smudging. This is a Prime and Stay finishing powder. It's sheer, it's from e.l.f. And I'll just swatch it. Not necessarily the softest powder I've ever used, but it does a pretty good job. And it's just gonna tone down some of the color. I think that looks lovely, lovely. I'm gonna use the Makeup by Mario setting spray as my final step. I'm just gonna use that to let it melt in. There, I think that looks really good. Let's take the clips out. Okay, so there's the finished look, guys. Hey guys, so I'm just having my coffee and collagen powder now, and I wanted to show you the look in natural light. So I really like how the highlight looks. I think that looks really pretty. My lipstick's kind of gone now because I've been drinking my coffee, but yeah, that's what it looks like in natural light. Well, that's it, guys. I hope you're all feeling well, and thanks for spending your energy with me today. Let me know in the comments below if you have any favorite brands that are your go-tos, and I'll see you over in the next video. Bye, guys.